Myths about ex-Muslims. When ex-Muslims come out, they don't always get the warmest welcome. In many places, this means very real threats and retribution. But where it might be physically safe, ex-Muslims are still often cast in an unfavorable light by the general public and their former communities alike. Much of this comes from a lack of dialogue and misconceptions about who ex-Muslims are and what they actually believe. So, let's clear it up. Being a closeted atheist in a Muslim country or household can be a traumatic experience, but trauma itself isn't the source of the disbelief. Still, some religious groups have gone so far as to claim that ex-Muslims have simply lost their faith due to unprocessed trauma. This perspective amounts to an invalidation of the entire ex-Muslim experience. The logical, rational questions and contradictions ex-Muslims wrestle with prior to coming out are very much real. To insinuate that faith is natural for anyone other than those too broken, cynical, or ignorant to accept it is both false and insulting. Any Muslim can become an ex-Muslim. Ex-Muslims are as diverse in their upbringings as Muslims. Some come from very liberal families, some from very hardline families, and everything in between. Sometimes a child comes out to their parents as ex-Muslim only to discover their parents had secretly been ex-Muslim too. Many ex-Muslims actually conceal their beliefs, a painful and stressful experience, out of respect and care for their families. For significant numbers in our apostate report, their family's reputation was concern enough to stay hidden. Islam is not a culture, it's a religion. While religion does play a role in traditions and bleeds into the culture, it is possible to separate them. Cultures existed well before Islam, and in many cases, Islam actually extinguished and replaced local traditions. Somalia, Pakistan, Morocco, Lebanon, Egypt, and all other Muslim-majority countries have distinct, vibrant, and beautiful cultures. Many ex-Muslims disbelieve while holding a fond love for their communities of origin. When apostate report respondents were asked whether non-religious reasons such as harassment for being a Muslim or lack of acceptance in Western society motivated their decision to leave the faith, an overwhelming majority of respondents, 81%, rejected this idea completely. This was the question for which respondents most frequently chose not a factor. Sin is a purely religious term. People leave Islam for many reasons. Regardless, you don't need to leave Islam to sin. Many Muslims sin anyway and ask for forgiveness later. The whole point of being an ex-Muslim is to no longer be tied down to the idea of religious sin, to be free to develop one's own secular morality. It's true that religious rules are very restricting and liberating to leave behind, but actually, many ex-Muslims still find themselves struggling to break religious rules after leaving the faith. 61% reported having trouble adjusting to prohibited activities in the Islamic faith after leaving the faith. Ex-Muslim persecution is very real. If it seems like ex-Muslims talk about it a lot, it's because it's not exaggerated, but in fact underplayed by almost everyone but us. In more than 30 countries, people are imprisoned, tortured, and killed for perceived blasphemy. These misconceptions aren't just harmful to ex-Muslims, they're harmful to Muslims too, and keep us from having the meaningful dialogue we need.